Hi, I build worlds for a living, but I don't build them alone.
I'm Jeannie, the first reader and the partner who keeps the real world running.
I'm J.E. Sutton Jr. This is the Co-Authored Life.
A look at the stories we share and the life we're building together.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I love that. Every week we pretend like we didn't just spend the last hour setting this stuff up.
It didn't take an hour. We're
No,
getting better.
We are getting better. It only took about 15 minutes this
Yeah.
time. So
Pages in process. Let's just jump right in.
Just jump right in?
Yep. We're just going to jump in. Not a lot of editing this week.
No. I did write a chapter.
Okay.
It took a while, but I wrote a chapter.
It's the last. There's 13 more wake ups for the school year. People look at me when they're like, wake ups. Why do you count wake ups? I'm like, because I have to wake up and go. It's been a weird week at the school.
Why do you think that is? Is it because
It's just end of
the year stuff?
End of the year. Teachers are testing and IEP meetings and all of that stuff. And
That makes sense.
yeah. So we didn't do a lot of editing, which makes me a little sad, but
Well, you finished. We just haven't gotten through your notes, right? Because you've edited all the chapters you've read, right?
I think so.
Okay. And so we just have to go over it, and then I think there's one or two more chapters that I've written since then. So
Yeah. The other books are doing well consistently. I know you would like them to.
Yeah, I would obviously.
I know every author would like to be.
Obviously, authors see that as validation of their work, but yeah, that's steady. I mean, I just yesterday somebody told me that they recommended the book to their mother or their mother-in-law or whoever it was.
Yeah. Thanks, Jessica.
Thanks, Jessica. And I mean, that's the sort of thing you want to hear, right? You want to hear that readers read your book and they liked it and they wanted somebody else to read it. So
yeah.
So that's all good. So I did finish a chapter this week. It's been slower than my usual process, but it's getting there. We're over 50,000 words now for the next novel. So we're on the latter part of the novel. I'm still shooting for fourth quarter release. Should be on target. I did read for those. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a huge debate within the author community.
I'm not an author, so I don't know this.
It's not like it's it's not like there's a wall or anything. You can see over
yes.
it. But there's this huge debate over how long it takes to write a novel.
Oh.
Right. And anybody who writes a novel in less than 2 years, I'm exaggerating, must be using AI or they're cheating somehow.
Right.
So I read just recently that Ian Fleming, who wrote the James Bond novels, for most of his novels, he wrote those novels in 2 months, in January and February of each year. And then after that, there was the editing process and the publishing and the production and the marketing and all that. And so this was in 1960, way before any automation. So, and obviously his novels were shorter than some novels. They're in the action, espionage, thriller sort of genre. So they're probably around 350 pages or so. But the fact is, if you sit down and write consistently, you can write a novel in 2 or 3 months. And that's really what my pace had been up until now. And this one's probably going to take about 4 or 5 months. And it's just because it's a little longer than the first 2 novels that I wrote. And it's a little bit different in tone and style. So it's taking a little bit longer.
Well, yeah. And we've had other things with the other books come up that we've had to take care of. We've had 2 book signings, events.
Right.
We're doing this podcast more frequently.
Well, yes. Well, right, because we started doing it
bi-weekly.
No,
not bi-weekly. Bi-monthly. Not every 2 months. Whatever.
Those terms are vague. We were doing it every other week.
Yes, and now we're doing it weekly.
Every week. That's true, but it's also slower because I'm writing it in locations that I don't live in and haven't visited a lot. Washington D.C. For the first part of the novel, and Houston for the second part of the novel.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm having to do a lot more research into locales and things because I want that stuff to feel authentic. And it's also in an industry that I didn't have a lot of information about.
That's
Um,
kind of fun though.
the energy sector. So uh,
Yep.
there's a lot more research that went into it.
Totally just ignored my question.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
I said that's kind of fun though, right?
Yeah, it is fun. I mean, it's a lot of work, and it's you spend a lot more time doing that. So that's part of the writing process. So I count that as time in writing. But you can spend hours and hours going over data, looking at Google Maps, and picking out. I have trouble writing about a structure or a building without some sort of visual reference in my head. So I'll end up going to Google Maps or Google Earth, pulling up an area and looking at the houses or the buildings around there, picking one, and then saying, okay, it's going to be something like this. And then I start to describe it and customize it. And so that's how I do it.
Yeah.
But so that's why it's taking a little bit longer. I'm not doing a lot more of that. It's not in the Jacksonville area where I'm very familiar. I still do the same thing, but it's much easier because I know basically what I'm looking for. I don't have to spend 20 minutes researching what neighborhood I want to put a scene in because I know all the neighborhoods in Jacksonville. I don't know the neighborhoods in Washington D.C. and Houston, so that's part of it. But
You
the other part of it are all the events that we've been doing,
yeah.
and we have more events coming up.
Yes, we do.
So we have and I don't know, I'm going to probably get this name wrong. Do you remember the name of the event we're doing in
The
July?
literary indulgence,
Fair.
yeah,
Festival.
festival, book
We'll
festival.
we'll include a link in this. But yeah,
I'm laughing because our co-producer, we tried to get her to uh get out of the office for a little bit, but
get
she
some fresh air.
refused and now she's like climbing everywhere. Anyway, so yeah, that's where we are with plot.
Pages in process. Pages in process. Although
No, I'm gonna do that.
later.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the next segment.
In the next segment.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to think if we have anything else. We don't really. We've got to do an inventory on books so we have enough books on hand for the festival and for a
yeah,
we're going to go back. We're in talks now to go back to San Marco Books and More at the end of next month. I don't have a date yet. We're going to get a date, and we'll publish that. And so we want to have enough books on hand for both of those events. So that's coming up.
yeah. We have to talk about that because you're gonna underestimate. And I get that you don't want to have a lot of books on hand. I totally understand that. However, I don't want to be the person at the book festival.
That's to pack up early.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we have enough books.
Okay. So yeah, yeah, that's the process. Can you hear the wheels spinning? Because they need some oil, that's for sure. So let's just move on
Okay.
to the Analog Book Club.
Analog Book Club. Okay.
And I have to
Oh yeah, that's right.
apologize to some authors.
We're terrible with names.
We are. I'm so bad. So, The Storm in the Sea by R.D.G. Lover. That's the author's name for that one.
And you just finished that book, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about that
Okay.
in a minute.
All right. I'm sorry.
Um,
I'm getting in the middle
yes,
of her
you're
process. I'm interrupting her pages of process. Sorry.
yes. The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer Armentrout. That's hard to see.
There you go. That's better.
Okay. I'm on Kindle. And then Song of the Unsung Mushroom
Yep.
by Sarah Clark Stewart, not Sarah Stewart Clark. So I apologize for saying your names wrong. That's really a goal of mine to make sure that in the future I get authors' names right. That's my thing. So let's start with you.
Okay.
What are you reading?
Well, I just finished On Her Majesty's Secret Service
Yeah.
this week, so that is done. If anybody's has read it, it ends rather tragically, and rather abruptly. I thought, Fleming maybe did a disservice to his characters doing that. Now, he does continue that story a little
So
bit.
Bond is dead?
No. No, it's not a Sherlock Holmes, thing. He didn't go over the
Wait,
falls or
Sherlock
anything.
Holmes gets killed?
Yeah. What? You're just finding that out now? Famously,
Okay.
Arthur Conan Doyle killed him off in a story because he was tired of writing the character, and then there was such an uproar
That
that he
he
brought him
wasn't
back.
really dead?
He wasn't really dead. Yeah.
They couldn't there was no body?
That's yeah, don't you remember when I talked about that scene in Young Sherlock Holmes? Young Sherlock?
Well, kinda, but I just thought you were
That's what I
being
was
you.
talking about
Oh,
because they were at the falls and there's no body.
okay.
Guarantee you in fiction, if there's no body,
Yeah.
the author has left themselves
Wow,
room.
I didn't know that. Anyway, okay,
Yeah.
so Bond isn't dead,
No, Bond is not dead.
but Sherlock is.
But Sherlock
Well,
was for a while and then came back. But anyway, and so now I'm going to be very careful about that because I don't want to offend anybody with my terminology. I am listening to the audiobook for You Only Live Twice. So
reading.
I'm consuming Ian Fleming's words in the audiobook You Only Live Twice, which is set in Japan and is right immediately after, a few months after On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and is the last of the Blofeld trilogy, which I'm reading through. I'm probably going to read The Man with the Golden Gun after this, just because it is the last.
The man with the golden
It is the
gun.
last Bond novel that Ian Fleming wrote. In fact, he died before it was completed. He wrote the first draft, and then he never got around to writing a second draft.
So his wife
No,
edited it
no. The story
edited
is that the publisher commissioned a super reader, one of Fleming's fans. I guess you would today probably call them a beta reader or something like that, and asked him to submit suggestions for edits to the book and additions to the book because Fleming wasn't able to do it. And apparently, Fleming's process was that he would write through the first draft, which was the story itself, but he would go back in the second draft and he would add in all the details, all the all of the color that made Bond novels what they were,
Oh,
with all of those locations and food and all of the sort of details, and that he didn't get a chance to do. So they asked the reader to submit suggestions for updating it. But though he did submit his suggestions, the publisher ultimately decided not to alter the novel, and they left it pretty much as is. All they did were copy edits. So that Bond novel is considered one of the thinnest and one of the least polished novels that
huh.
Fleming did because he passed away
That's interesting.
just after. So I'll probably finish after I finish reading You Only Live Twice. I'll probably finish that. But so I am listening to that in the car every morning, and I've started doing my audiobook walk every day, get some exercise, and gives me more time listening to audiobooks, which is a bonus there. And it makes the time pass. You don't think about the walking so much if you're listening to a good story. So I'm also reading on Kindle The Song of the Unsung Mushroom by Sarah Clark Stewart. Right? Am I getting that right?
Oh my gosh.
We just said it. We're going to do it again. Yeah.
Yes.
Sarah
Sarah
Clark
Clark
Stewart.
Stewart. Goodness.
Sarah, I'm so sorry. I keep getting your name
I
wrong.
know. I feel so bad.
But we keep mentioning the book title, so
Yeah.
there's a bonus there. So I'm reading that. I'm about 40% through that on the Kindle. Very interesting concept. I'm enjoying it so far. So that's where I'm at in reading. What about you?
So I'm consuming Song of the Unsung Mushroom on audio
Audiobook.
format. So that's my commute listen. And I agree. It's interesting. It's thought provoking.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on.
Right. Right. So yeah. So and she does this little thing where she tells the first part of the story, and then she goes back and tells it from a different perspective. She's writing in third person, but she's telling it in third person from a different perspective.
Right.
So That's always fun. That's always interesting. You get to see like how you get to see how a story changes if you shift the view just slightly, right? So
Right.
you
There
see it
are
from
some
one
time
angle,
jumps too.
right? There are times that, but you see it from one angle, and then you shift the perspective. You see it from a different angle. And you understand things. You're like, oh, that's what that
Right.
meant.
Right.
That's
Right.
what that was.
Oh, that's why that
That's why that
happened.
was going on. That's what she was talking about.
So I don't I'm slightly behind you.
Yeah, not by much. A few, like a chapter or two. You just
Yeah.
started part two, and I'm I'm a couple of chapters into part two.
Yeah.
So
So that's what I am listening to on my commutes. Reading. I'm just going to say reading. Come at me. See what happens.
fight me.
And for reading, I'm reading on my Kindle the I'm so bad with names of books. The Crown of Gilded Bone, which is the third book in the series, the Blood and Ash series. It's not the vampire series, which is what I called it last week. It is the Blood and Ash series. Um, it's good. I had forgotten because I took such a break from it
Right.
that I'm like, oh yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
right.
you were complaining to me last night that the way that your brain works, you'd forgotten a bunch of the story. You had to keep reminding yourself of the story you'd read in
Yeah.
previous books because it had been so long.
I call it Swiss cheese
Swiss
brain
cheese
because there's
brain,
big
big
holes.
holes. I have the same issue with books. I don't remember all the details of a book. What's funny is I can read a book and then I can pick that book up again a few years later, and I'm like, I don't think I've read this. I start reading, I'm like, well, that's familiar. A few pages later, oh yeah, I remember. Oh wait, I've read this book. So that does
Yeah.
sometimes happen to me. Um, I, I'm in the moment. I enjoy the book, the story. Excuse me. I love the story and learn new things from the narrative, but I don't necessarily remember all of the details about the book. I think this drives Jeannie crazy because we'll watch a TV show that's based on a book I've read, and I'll say, "Oh, I've read this book," and Jeannie in the middle of it will say, "Well, what happens next?" I'm like, "I have no clue. I don't remember the
Well, you
story."
usually remember stories much better than I do.
I'll remember details. I did remember, um, well, with Joe Nesbo's series. I was actually reading that book at the same time,
Yeah.
so I didn't know. I would
I'm going to stop calling it Swiss cheese brain and call it interpreter brain because,
because it's like a filter. It goes
yeah,
in and
everything
out.
comes in and we have to like pump it out in a different language. And
Right.
some of it doesn't stick. Some of it does. Some of it really does. Um, Theme songs. But
I
we'll
think
get to that
that
in a
goes to
minute.
in the next
Yeah.
segment. So what else can we talk about with
The Analog Book
the
Club.
Analog Book Club?
I don't. Do you have anything on your TBR list that you're excited about?
No, I don't. I'm very unusual about that. I don't have a traditional TBRS to be read list. There's lots of books that I have in my
People don't recommend books, and you're like, oh, I'll add that to my
yeah,
list. Da
they
da 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 da.
do. They do, but I don't it's like some people have this huge list and they work diligently to read through it. I don't. I have a on Goodreads I have my want to read
Yeah.
shelf. There's lots of stuff on there. But it's not a TBR, traditional TBR.
Well,
I
what's the
generally
difference?
The difference is I don't look at it very often. And when
Well, like,
I finish a book, I generally then in that moment decide what I'm going to read next. And it is almost always a book that I had not considered reading next.
huh?
Now, unlike the Bond novels that I made a conscious decision that I'm going to read in a certain order, that is a traditional TBR list, right?
Oh,
I don't usually do that. So, I decided to read Song of the Unsung Mushroom because we met Sarah at the independent bookstore day, and we bought her book, and I wanted to read it. But that happened within, a few days of me starting to read that book.
Right.
And if we hadn't met her there, I'd have had to do a search. So, do I get to that uh, TBR list on Goodreads? Yes, but only if nothing jumps out at me before that. I don't default to that list.
So the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was
Right.
on my I want to read book
Right.
list in Goodreads for probably a year.
Yeah.
And I remember looking as I was saying, "Oh, I finished this book." I'm like, "Oh, there's that book again. I should probably read that. I really want to read it." So,
See,
but I,
there's a good example. When I read that book,
yeah,
it was because I had seen a news article or something on it, and I was in between books and I just picked it up immediately. I didn't
yeah.
it wasn't there's no That's what I'm saying. A lot of times what'll happen is I'll finish a book and I'm like, "Oh, I wonder what I should read next. Oh, let me go look and see if any of the authors that I like to read, Michael Connolly, Craig Johnson, Scott Turow, any of these authors that I have read in the past, if they have a new book. And if they do, that's what I'm probably reading. And if they don't, then I'm starting to sort of, searching around. And sometimes that means doing random Amazon searches. Sometimes it means going back to my uh, list on Goodreads. And sometimes it's just, the New York Times uh, art
Yeah.
section or some other recommendation, but it's not, I don't have this huge list. And since I don't generally read physical books very much, I don't have a stack anywhere.
Well,
Right?
no.
I do have one physical book that we bought at a local bookstore that I really want to get to read. I just haven't done it
Yeah.
yet.
uh, uh,
Tim Gilmore book
Yeah.
about Jacksonville.
Yeah. Um us having physical books, I think we really haven't bought physical books
That-
until you started this whole journey.
right.
And the reason we bought them was to support the
To support
local.
the local authors. Yeah.
Right.
Right. And in Sarah's case, to make up for the fact that we get your name wrong constantly, the fact is we bought Sarah's paperback book.
Right. Correct.
I'm reading her the Kindle edition on Kindle Unlimited, which means she's getting paid for every page read. Not a lot, but she is. And then you used a audiobook credit to
Right.
read
Through
her
Everand. Yeah.
through Everend to get her book, which means she's getting paid there too. So we're actually supporting her in multiple formats. So, and it didn't really cost us anything additional. I mean,
So
people will remind me that Kindle Unlimited is not free.
no,
That's true, but we would have it no matter whether we read Sarah's book or
we
not.
pay for 2 subscriptions of Kindle Unlimited because his reading, I don't know why we do. Something about you couldn't have it on 2 different Kindle.
Yeah, you had to do it because we got you a new Kindle, and you couldn't
You know, I found my old Kindle the other day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's got a keyboard on it, and
Oh,
it's
it's
weird.
really old. It's really old. It's
I'll have
probably
to
one of the ones they're not supporting anymore.
probably, probably,
And we
but
could
that's
talk
okay
we
because I love our, Kindle Colors,
Yes,
the Color
the color
Softs,
softs very good. And you edit using the
Kindle
Kindle
Scribe.
Scribe, which I bought you for your birthday.
Yes, I didn't need a Kindle Scribe.
It's fun though.
It is, and it actually is easier to edit with that than it is, the smaller Kindle or the iPad where I had to write
Yeah,
notes and
right.
stuff.
So
So, yeah, I'm really enjoying that. But, train of thought just derailed. Um,
we need
analog book club.
sound effects for the show. We need a soundboard next week.
We're not gonna get a soundboard. So, it was something to do with your book, but I totally well,
Go buy it.
yes, go buy it.
You
The
can't get you
Failsafe
can't
Program, Cybernetic Resonance,
right.
Holiday Hustle, they're all available on anywhere you get a book.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Smash Words. What
Yeah,
else?
it's not Smash Mouth like the band, because that's
Smash
what I
Smash
always say.
Words. You can get it through your library through the Libby app.
Yes.
You can request it.
Or the your local library app. It doesn't have to be Libby.
No,
We
Libby's just one of the more common ones that
Yeah,
they use other apps too, but they purchase directly through uh, usually Overdrive, which
I thought it was Draft to Digital.
Draft to Digital is the company that aggregates all that. That's who I deal with, which is the same company that owns Ingram Spark.
Just remember.
Keep that in your head
'Kay.
because I want to finish this thought. But Overdrive is the company that actually sells to libraries. Most libraries get their books through a couple different sources, and Overdrive is one of those. And they, when the libraries do, the author gets paid, and they also, depending on the arrangement, sometimes they get paid per book that's checked out. Not a lot per book that's checked out, but they do get paid for that. So however you consume books, we're there. And if you can't find my book somewhere,
JESuttonjr.com.
you go there. There's lists. And otherwise, drop us a line on social media, on the Co-Authored Life social media, and we'll help you find a copy of it somewhere because we because I want you to read my book.
Yes. Okay, so it had to do with audiobooks. So I'm just gonna put you on the
Oh,
spot here because have you heard from your actor lately?
so my narrator, yes. So and I think we had said before, maybe we didn't make a big deal out of it. We are
You did. We
currently
did.
producing an audiobook that will be released on Apple and Audible later this year
For this fail-safe
for the
program.
Failsafe program. And so I'm working with a producer who's doing the narration and the audiobook production. And yeah, so I heard from her just yesterday or
Oh,
the day
wow.
before. She needed to know how to pronounce a word, and she reached out to me.
The K word?
Yes. Can you pronounce it?
Kurlos. Kurlos.
It's Kurlos. Yeah.
Kurlos.
Kurlos. The funny thing about this, I didn't tell her this, but the funny thing about this um, is that all throughout the editing process of the Failsafe program, Jeannie would mispronounce this word constantly. And for the first probably 25 times, I probably corrected her, and then I stopped doing it. I was just like, you know what? I'm just not going to worry about it because she wanted
It's a
it.
weird looking
It
word.
is a weird looking word.
Kyrlos.
Yes.
I would say Kurlos.
So yeah, Kirlos is what you would say, but it is Kurlos, and it is because of the origins of the word. And I'm not going to reveal what the word means because it's a bit of a spoiler. But if you've read the book, drop us a line. I'll tell you what it means and why it's important to the story. It's not important to the story, but it is a clue in the story.
All right. Well, and on that note,
Move on.
we're gonna close the cover of the book and move on to plot and popcorn.
Plot and popcorn. We still don't have any popcorn because Jeannie doesn't like to listen to me munching popcorn.
We did a whole bit on this last week. We're not gonna do
Hey,
that
we got
again.
a lot of views on
We
that
did.
video.
Okay, so what I'm gonna put before plot and popcorn is that on date night, this is kind of popcorn. What's for dinner? But normally we go out for dinner. Well, date night was a little different because I was planning it, and we went to Verse Immersive for an augmented reality walk.
Yes.
Yeah,
So how was it? Let's talk about our experiences because I think we had two different experiences.
yes, we
There was
did.
some overlap, but so I'll talk about my experiences first, and I want you to talk about yours because I want people to understand what some of the challenges in this medium are.
Before you do that, so there are two walks you can go through. The
Yep.
first one is the Star Walk, where you
Right.
walk through the stars. The second one is called Everworld, and it's kind of like you're questing.
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a little
that's
quest. Yeah, it is.
yeah,
It's kind of cool. But anyway, so what you do is you go in. They fit you with a little battery pack that you wear around your neck, sort of a
sling.
sling, and you plug in these augmented reality glasses, which look a lot like smart glasses. So that there was that. I have a picture somewhere of them. We'll publish
Put
this.
that.
So and you put those on, and when the presentation starts, presentation's the wrong word. When the program starts, you can when you turn your head and you look around, you can see the augmented reality. So the first one is the walk through the stars. So it takes you through the entire solar system. You look at different planets. You
Yeah.
see, you have to go and you get points for quizzes that they give you, and you get points if you reach out and touch asteroids that are
Yeah.
floating around. You get points for that. You get points for looking around and seeing different things. And they go through the solar system and the Milky Way galaxy. In fact, other galaxies as well. So there's a whole thing. It's really kind of cool. It's informative. It's interesting. There's some limitations to the augmented reality that they're doing, which make it a little frustrating because you have just a little sort of vision in front of you. It's not a
Yeah.
full immersive video, which I wish it were, but that probably would be very difficult. But it can be very disorienting, and it can make you can get a little bit of motion sickness when you're doing it because of how that works. But I wanted you to talk about your experience in that part first, and then we'll talk about the Everworld.
So, about the motion sickness, I didn't really get
No, 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 your experience with the Star Walk.
I really liked the Star Walk. Um, I have an astigmatism, I wear glasses,
Right.
so I walk in, "Hi, we only have 2 glasses for our visually impaired people." Not that whatever.
Visually challenged.
No, it's, I mean, visually impaired, that's I am visually impaired. Um, so she gave me first the medium one that she had, and it was okay. I'm like, "Eh." Then she gave me the heavy, I guess is what she called it, the
Yeah,
heavy,
heavy.
and that was just too blurry. And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll do the medium." So I do it, and we start our tour. We start in the Oort cloud, and I'm like smashing asteroids, racking up points, answering all the questions, and my glasses died. I was mad.
Yeah. That's disappointing. Sort of a crash. You're
Yeah,
enjoying the experience and then boom.
back to reality.
Right.
So I finally get a regular pair, which was fine. I am nearsighted, so I could read the captions and all of that. But all of my points,
Got wiped away. Do you know what your high points were when
it
you
was like 2250 or something like that. I don't know. I could probably download their app and look at it, but I'm too mad to do that.
yeah,
So I get back in there and I she has to figure out where I was in the thing, so I tell her, and it wasn't exactly right, but I wasn't gonna fuss at that point. Meanwhile, Jerry is walking through, doing his thing. I finish up almost to the end. I get to the galaxies in the Milky
right.
Way, and that's where it kinda wraps up.
It died again.
It died again. I'm like, by that time, that and their AC wasn't really working.
Yeah, it started to get really warm in there, which is not a good thing when you get a little bit of motion sickness.
Right.
You're just already starting to sweat a little bit and starts to feel
It's
very
not really motion sickness because it is not it can be a little jarring at
yeah.
times. I don't think motion sickness is the right.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a better word for it, but it's similar to what I experienced playing first person video games
Yeah,
where
just kind of
you start
that
to get a headache and you start to get a little disoriented and
maybe disoriented is.
right,
So, I at this point, my glasses have died twice. We didn't get to do the walk together
right,
because
right,
we're off.
right.
So finally, and I'm hot, probably because I was a little bit miffed.
No, it was hot. It was hot in that room. I was hot.
So I I went and sat down for a minute, turned on their fan that was sitting there because it wasn't running, and I'm like, "Turning on your fan, sorry, not sorry." So I kinda cooled
Right.
off, and Jerry's already ready for the second walk of Everworld.
I can't believe you didn't see the elephant. We'll get to that.
Yeah. So we finally go in and we start that.
Yeah, so Everworld is much different. It's an adventure story. You
Yes.
have to rescue the Everworld from the corruption from Nixus?
Nexus.
Nixus, Nexis, I think is it.
I
Nixus.
thought it was NYXIS or something.
I think it's pronounced Nixus.
Yeah, I think so too.
But so Nixus, who's this glowing Sauron eye-like
Yes.
thing, clearly, inspired by the Lord of the Rings. But anyway,
I wanna mention something.
yeah,
So the Star Walk, was photos and
right.
things, so it was very realistic
Yeah,
looking.
photorealistic, yeah.
Everworld was like, uh,
Animation, yeah.
animation, but, blacklight painting
Right,
type
right.
setup.
So it's completely different. But they had little animated birds and animals, and so you had to go
Sam the
through.
Snail,
You had Sam the snail and the rabbit.
Rudy the
Can't
Ru
remember the name of the rabbit.
and Fred the Frog.
There's a frog and there's a turtle.
Oh, yeah, the turtle.
Then there's a giant elephant, which Jeannie didn't see the elephant because it's just a massive elephant that fills the whole room. And if you're that's part of the problem with the technology is that because you don't have a perspective, when you see the elephant, if you don't look all the way up and see the elephant, all you see is a trunk,
Yeah,
is the leg, and it looks just like a column or something.
yeah.
So there was an elephant at one point, but you have to go through and like one of the ones you have to go find the snail and touch the corruption that he's pointing at, and it destroys it. With the rabbits, you have to go find the carrots and
Carrots.
feed them to the rabbit.
I ran into the wall because the carrot was in the wall. I didn't really run into it, but I'm like, "Oh, wall."
Yeah, that was the other limitation because if the projection, which is based on where you're at when you get to that point, if you're too close to the wall, it'll project into the wall and you can't actually interact with it. It's very difficult to interact
Yeah,
with it.
at
So
one point, part of mine was out in the hallway.
yeah. Yeah, I had that too. So then there's another section where you have runes that you have to collect, and you didn't get the last
I didn't get the
runes, right?
last rune, so
Right.
my journey ended before Jerry's did.
Right. She was done just a little bit before I was, and then I finished right after that. So all in all, it was a very interesting
It
experience.
was.
I
I'm
loved
I'm glad we
having
did it.
done it. I'm glad we did it. I would love to see the next level. So great date night. Excellent. Um, I'm glad we did it. I'd love to see a step up from that. Um, but it's not like Ready Player One where you're all immersed in
No.
everything.
So other people came into the room as well. Did they what did they do? They were there for a very short
They
time.
left. I don't know if they didn't like the experience or if they had technical issues. I don't know. They were there only for one part of the Star Walk.
Oh, they were doing the Star Walk?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, I don't know.
I
Let's
mean, you
see.
could probably be doing
Yeah,
both
you
at
could
the
be doing
same.
both because it's independent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but they were there for. I mean, each session lasted about a half hour, 20
Yeah.
to 30 minutes. They were there for maybe 15, 20 minutes tops.
Yeah.
They did not finish either one of
Maybe
those.
they didn't like that I was running around smashing all asteroids, but that's a personal thing. Like,
That's what
because I
they
smashed an
do.
asteroid doesn't mean you can't smash it too.
Well, yeah, because it's completely different.
Right. It's individual.
They're individual, so
So,
I'm
I
sure.
mean, I was kind of a little choo, 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 going back and forth trying to get asteroids to rack up my points, especially after my glasses failed twice.
Yeah, I don't know, but all in all, excellent experience. The technical flaws that you experienced marred it a little bit for you. I would love to do, like a next level thing. I'd love to do more augmented reality stuff.
Let's hope that Mindbenders in Jacksonville on Beach Boulevard gets their AC fixed, and I would definitely suggest that you call them ahead of times to make sure.
That the temperature is under control.
Yeah, or just dress accordingly. Um,
Didn't they say at the time that it started out really cold and got warmer throughout the day, and maybe that's part of the problem? I
yeah, I
don't
don't
know.
know. It
Yeah.
was by the time we were done, we were ready to
Well, that's
sit
yeah.
in
We were going to go
AC.
out to dinner
Yeah,
after that, and we were like, "No, we're not going to go out to dinner. We are going to
pick up
pick up
something,
something to dinner."
and we'll
Which
talk
we'll
about
talk
that in
about
a
that.
bit. So, what else are we watching?
So we are watching the
Bay.
Widow's Bay, which is this. series on
Apple
Apple
TV?
TV.
Yeah.
The Apple does a great job of content.
Yeah, we really don't watch enough Apple TV
We
because
should watch more, yeah.
there's a couple series that I wanna watch.
So, it's this really quirky comedy horror sort of thing about this maybe haunted island. Think Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard or
Well, they wish they
places
were
like that.
Martha's
They wish
Vineyard.
they were Martha's Vineyard, but that's part of the run show. But and this really, and I can't remember this actor's name, but we just watched him in The Beast in Me.
Yeah.
Plays an amazing.
It's quite a good cast.
Yeah, it's a really good cast. And so we've been watching that. We watched 3 episodes so
Yeah,
far. It's
it's
really fun.
funny.
It's really fun, but fun with a very sort of scary horror feel to it. So we'll keep watching that and see how that goes. We're watching Battlestar Galactica. We've watched a bunch of
Man, the
episodes.
writing is good.
The writing is so good, and of course that when you first start watching that show, you don't realize until well into the show that how much of a spiritual story, spiritual journey that they're telling. But
Well, spiritual and political and
right,
yeah.
but all that, but so we watched a bunch of episodes last night. We just sort of turned it on.
Yeah,
And
it's not that it was background, but it was
it was
kind of
on, and we were doing some other things, and you would stop and get distracted watching the show. Some fantastic episodes too. So anyway, so that's what else. I don't know that we watched. I think we probably watched an episode of St. Dennis last week, but that's about all we watched this week.
yeah, we're gonna try to watch a movie this weekend,
Yes.
maybe.
We wanna watch a movie,
We don't know
maybe
what we're
later
gonna
this
watch.
afternoon if it's gonna rain today, make some popcorn, watch a movie. We haven't decided what. So, you tune in next week to find out what happened.
I
What
think
else? Anything else we're watching?
no, I think that's it. The verse immersive thing was,
It was really good.
yeah.
It was really good,
Widow's
and it could've been.
Bay,
Yeah.
good. Battlestar Galactica, always good.
Yes. And
Timely.
Widow's Bay, you just sort of stumbled on. You were just, like, looking through
Yeah, I
stuff,
was
and it was
"Oh, something to watch," and
so,
I'm like, "Oh, this looks fun.
and
It's a genie show."
we watched the first episode. It was like, "Whoa.
Like, "What did we just watch?
What did
This
I
is so
just
fun."
watch?" So, but it's fun. We had to watch the second episode, and we were hooked by then. So,
Yeah. So let's move on to what's for dinner.
what's for dinner? What did we cook this week?
Ooh, you surprised me. Friday night was so delicious.
Yeah, and totally the fault of an influencer on TikTok.
Yes, who runs the Blackbird Coop.
Blackbird Coop. So it's a poultry farm. They do a bunch of different
Well,
stuff.
and they do they do beef yet?
Yeah,
No.
he does. He
Oh,
does. He
okay.
has beef as well, I think. But I don't think they're as big into that. But it's a poultry farm. Famously, he said he started with 6
Well, I don't know if that was a
chickens.
joke.
I think he said. I think that was true. I think that
Really,
he
6
started.
chickens?
I think he started with a very small numbers.
Anyway, Jerry found him on TikTok,
Yeah.
and of course, we went down that rabbit
Hilarious.
hole. And oh, I'm gonna go back because on Plot and Popcorn, because we've also been watching, other than the TikTok thing, Peg Plus Cat. I work at an elementary school, and I showed Jerry Peg Plus Cat.
Fantastic show.
It is, and we don't
Unbelievable
have
show.
kids, and we've probably watched
Well,
like 4 hours
Gee-
of this show.
Jeannie had to stop herself this morning because she started playing Peg Plus Cat interactive games on pbs.org,
Yeah.
and then she saw a video. She's like, "Oh," and she's like, "Nope, I can't do it. I'll go down a rabbit hole of watching Peg
They're
Plus Cat."
so fun.
Amazing little series about a little girl named Peg and her cat called Cat, and they do stories about education. This is at the very early edge, preschool,
K1,
kindergarten.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they do shapes and numbers and
Addition and
yeah, and but they do some amazing stuff, and it is more than just a kid show because there's so many clever little adult hooks, right? So they did a whole segment on Beethoven's Fifth Symphony,
right.
where you learn how that's constructed, right? So around all the silliness about the Beethoven's Fifth Symphony being inspired by a cat laughing, not true, right? But but the fact that it's constructed with specific notes
Yeah,
is
short,
true.
short,
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 short, short,
long,
long.
right. Short, short, short,
Short,
long.
short, short, long. And so, but that's fun, and it teaches kids about that music. And they
Yes.
played a good portion of that symphony
Yeah, they did.
during that episode. And so, they just recently we just recently watched one which was a homage to the Twilight Zone, which
Yes, the
kids do not
Twilight
get, and
Zone.
probably most adults don't get.
No, we're too old to
But
not too we're not too old.
but
We're perfectly old.
we're perfectly old enough. But anyway, it's a fantastic show. If you have not seen Peg Plus Cat, watch it. Tell us what you think about it. It's really, really clever.
Okay, so let's bring us back to What's for Dinner.
What's for dinner?
So we did do that immersive thing, and we decided not to go out for dinner. Instead, we picked up
European Street. We picked up European Street, which is a Jacksonville restaurant, which Jeannie told me last night. I thought European Street was a regional chain, but it's not. It's Jacksonville restaurants. There's, I think, 3 locations currently. There used to be 4 or 5.
Yeah, San Marco, Riverside, and the beach.
And the beach. Yeah, there used to be one.
We haven't been to the beach one. We need to go.
Yeah, we should go to that one. There used to be that I remembered a long time ago. It started out in a deli in the Regency Square Mall in Jacksonville, which is now all just everything but closed. There's nothing there now, but
Isn't there a church there?
something like that.
Isn't the Penny still open there?
Could be, but it
I don't
used to
know.
be the place to be,
Yes.
right? And now, of course,
We
it's
used to
gone.
go there
Yeah.
for dates.
And there used to be 4. I think there used to be 4 or 5 locations, and now there's down to 3. So we both had classic Reuben. Jeannie had hers on gluten-free bread,
Yeah, they're very good about that.
and I had mine on rye. Both of them toasted. Your traditional Reuben with corned beef and sauerkraut and
Thousand Island
Thousand
dressing.
Island dressing, just messy and warm, lovely.
Yes.
So that's what we had for dinner after date night.
So back to Blackbird Coop.
Blackbird Coop, whose handle on social media is Farming While Beige. It's fantastic content, wonderful
He's
comment,
hilarious.
and he is hilarious. Find his stuff. Again, we'll put links to some of his pages. But so he did a video where he did a stitch with this guy who went to a supermarket, was going to buy a steak. They were expensive, so he found this really, really cheap steak. It's a chuck roast. Now, if you've ever cooked a chuck roast, you know that you can't cook that in a traditional way. You can't, which is what this guy did. He just put it in a iron skillet with butter and pan fried it, basted it, and then he tried to eat it. It's like eating, his words, a Timberland boot. You can't do that. You have to slow cook a chuck roast. Chris, who's just the first name of the beige farmer, Farming While Beige. Chris did this wonderfully hilarious video where he said, early in the video said, "That's a great cut of steak. If you're going to take it home and slow cook it with some broth and some red wine and some vegetables and spices and stuff." And he said that.
And both of us looked at each other like,
yeah,
we need to do that
From
soon.
that minute on, I knew I was going to do that. So on Fridays, I work from home, and I generally try to cook on Fridays. Jeannie's out working at school. She's coming home. I want to make sure that she doesn't have to spend a lot of time cooking when she gets home. And since I'm here, and I don't have to travel to and from work, I have a little bit more leeway. So I messaged her early in the day and said, "Hey, what do you think about having a chuck roast with some potatoes and carrots?" And so I went to the store. We got chuck roast, some I don't know what they're called. They're just sort of
they're not really fingerling potatoes. They're like one bite potatoes.
Yeah, one bite potatoes. They're
that are more than one bite.
Yeah, and some carrots, which I peeled and cut up into big pieces. And I browned the steak. And we cooked this in our Ninja Foodie. So I browned the steak on both sides, and then I prepared the broth and red wine, put the steak in, vegetables, almost forgot the onions and the garlic, but I got that in there. So, excuse me. And then I put it on high, slow cook on high. I cooked it for about 6 hours, about 5.5 hours actually, and then we turned it down to low.
Yeah.
So that cooked with a little rosemary as well. in there. It was
It
fantastic.
was.
This is another recipe since I didn't actually have a recipe for this, I looked at a bunch of different recipes, but I actually made up the recipe. I will actually write that down and we'll include it this week. We'll put that on the recipe page on the website and we'll include it this week.
We have a recipe page?
We do have a recipe page on jesuttonjr.com.
I did not know
We
this.
do.
Wow.
So I'll include that in the recipe. There's only one recipe on it right now. I can't remember what it is though.
It's probably your skillet stuff.
It's one of the skillet. Maybe it's the kielbasa. Yes, the kielbasa. It's the
Yeah.
kielbasa jasmine rice. So, that's what we did on Friday night. Wonderful. In fact, that's what we're having for lunch today, right? Is it today or tomorrow?
I don't know yet.
We'll figure it out. We're gonna have
Anyway,
it.
yeah.
So that's what's for dinner. We didn't do a lot this week, but that was a really, really good meal. Thanks to Farming While Beige. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. We appreciate it.
Just for the record, we are in no way affiliated with
We're
Black
not
Coop,
affiliated with
Blackbird Coop,
anyone.
and they have no clue we exist.
Please.
But we're big fans.
Please sponsor us.
We're big fans.
We are big fans.
The only bad part about that is that he is in Virginia, Maryland area. He doesn't deliver to our area.
No, we would totally be buying his eggs.
We would absolutely love his content.
We do.
So, what else do we have before we wrap things up?
I don't, other than that, it's been the usual sheep pan dinners.
Yep. Chicken or fish and
I'm pretty stressed right now with this whole end of the year thing. Kids are a little crazy. Not crazy. They're not crazy. They're cute. They're feeding off
the energy of the
adults
around them. Yeah.
Yes, the adults are tired, and excuse me, the kids can feel it, and so they act accordingly.
Right.
13 more wake ups. No, I think that wraps up yet another episode of The Co-Authored Life.
So that means it's time for me to say,
you know what we didn't do? We didn't fix our outro.
Oh, that's right. We were going to
because
fix
we're
that.
not behind the scenes.
So it's behind the scenes of our life, not behind the scenes of the podcast.
Oh.
It's a view behind the scenes of our lives, which is the co-authored life. That's what it means. So all stories must have an ending, but our process is just getting started.
Thank you for joining us and viewing our scenes of the co-authored life. See what I did there?
I did. I'm J.E. Sutton Jr.
And I'm Jeannie. To see what we're currently working on, including the recipe page that I didn't know about, visit jesuttonjr.com, and we'll see you in the next chapter.
You know, there was a link to the recipe page in the description of the podcast this week.
I did the editing. I don't do the final production.
You don't look at the description?
Yeah.
Somebody should look at it. Maybe the co-producer will look at it. Where is the co-producer?
I don't know.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.